I'm Rebecca Hoffman, and my practice is Good Egg Concepts. And today we're going to be talking about small business marketing in a changing marketing workplace. And I will share my screen. I've got a document to share. Let's see if I can find it. All right. Okay, where did it go? No, I don't see it. Hold on. Can you see the document?
I can. It looks like it's a numbered list.
Yeah, no, I'm not seeing it on my end for some reason. Let's see, I'm screen sharing, that's good, but I should be able to see it too. What to do? Let's see. Okay, here we go. All right, thank you. Okay. So I'd be interested if people want to type into the chat what types of businesses you're in, because we can try to talk about those specific industries as we go. If people say I'm a florist, or I make stationery, or I'm a home remodeler, that would be great. And I think Jody or Leslie can read those as they come in. So we'll just begin, because 2020 has been an interesting year for business in that things changed a lot. And when things changed a lot, we had to do what we're all saying is a big pivot. And when we pivoted, we suddenly realized for a moment we had to change everything potentially to keep our businesses going. And the first thing that emerged as we kind of came out of the shock that we really were going to be housebound for a while is that everything was heading to online, because a lot of the things that we used to do in person, the due diligence, the meetings, the interconnections that people had for business, for any type of business, changed. And so the first thing that emerged right off the bat is something that I call, and I think a lot of people will call, reputation management. Reputation management is really the most important thing that's been going on this year for many businesses, because it was something that we knew we should do previously, but we weren't doing completely. And so reputation management is loosely everything that exists online about you and your business. It could be the reviews that you receive, it could be the information that you share, your business is promoted that are not necessarily your own website, and so forth. And so one of the things that I know with my clients, and I know marketers across the country were doing, is auditing a digital footprint. So the digital footprint is, if you Google your business, what do you find in search returns on page 1, page 2, page 3, and so forth. And I'll frequently refer to Google, but when I say Google, I really mean all search engines, which could be Bing, DuckDuckGo, it could be your MSN, whatever it is that you're using for search. Google's just a big one because they have such a strong platform. But the first thing that people really needed to do is make sure that the reputation their business has is good, and not just good, but also growing and something that's appealing to people who are homebound and doing their due diligence for any kind of good or service that they may want to purchase, whether it's a professional service or a product that they want to buy. Your reputation is really important right now, and there's a lot of ways to do this. If you don't have a solid strategy for this, you should probably develop a plan for how to grow this positive online presence. And even after this session, if people have questions, they can always email me and we can find a time to talk by phone about any of these items that we're discussing today. The second thing is to think about social media. So a lot of businesses were already on social media, but not fully, or they were on social media, but kind of tentatively. So this year, social media became a way to really amplify and promote any business message or product message that you have. And there's so many things that you can share, but the most important thing is first to think about your social channel. We can talk about Facebook first, we could talk about LinkedIn, Instagram, any of those. And think of them as your storefront. And in the same way, if you had an actual brick and mortar store, which some of you may already have, you would also have one that's digital. And so your digital storefront should be one that you're not just proud of, but one that makes sense, looks like your business, sounds like your business, and something that communicates regularly all the values that you have for your business. So you want to make sure that you appear open for business. And one of the things that I've observed is up until the pandemic, it was not uncommon to visit a business Facebook page and note that the last post that was published might have been a year prior, 7 months before. There may be comments that people made, hey, we love this service that you offer, and nobody commented back. So one of the things you have to do when you're operating your social channels is make sure that you're not just building a good page, but that you're publishing great content. And in addition to that, when people comment to you, you're replying quickly, because you get rated by the platforms for quick response. And in some cases, you'll earn a badge for quick response. And that helps escalate you in search, so that when people are searching within a platform for a good or service, you're going to turn up higher because you respond quickly. So social media is just so big. It's really something now that we could think of as a utility, very similar in nature to having a telephone, very similar in nature to having a website, very similar in nature to having other ways that people can access you, that we used to say years past, oh, I don't need that. Or I hear still from clients, I don't really like social media. Well, I appreciate that, and I think there are things to dislike about social media, but as a piece of marketing, it's necessary. So it's really important to focus on, and I would start with one channel and get really good at it. So for example, start with LinkedIn for business. And if you master that, then go on and do Facebook, and then Instagram, sort of like learning languages. If you were setting out to learn French, Spanish, and Italian, you probably wouldn't try to learn them all at once. You'd probably learn one, master it, and then learn the second and see how it's different, and then the third. So if you have any questions about social media, we can answer them now or as we go. Just type in a chat question if you have one. We should talk a little bit also, because this relates to social channels, the notion of embracing video, but do it in a way that makes sense for your business. So when we talk about video, what we want to avoid is ad hoc, impromptu video that's unedited, that can be very problematic. So people will ask me, should I be using Facebook Live? Should I be just publishing video because I was walking down the street and saw something interesting or had a thought? And I would say most of the time, no, because you want to be able to control how you appear on video. You want to be a little bit produced. You don't want to be overproduced, but you want to make sure that any video that exists for your business is one that feels also like your business, and not like some raw footage that someone took that may or may not speak well for your business. And sometimes I think it comes down to even, what is the setting that you're in? How do you look on this particular piece of video? Is it too long? Is it running too long? I always recommend to people to try to produce videos that are under 2 minutes in length, unless there's some reason to have it run longer, and hire somebody, and it doesn't have to be fancy, but hire somebody to edit it so that it makes sense, so it seems more like a news clip. Maybe with a chyron with your name and information on the side or at the bottom of the screen, so that people, when they watch it, because they could be watching from very far afield, will know who you are and what you're talking about. And if they should share it with somebody else, they'll know the same information. One of the things we were talking about before the session started with Leslie and Jody, who you should lean on as great resources from the library, is the fact that the library has for loan certain pieces of video equipment and technology that you can use to improve how you present your business. These are wonderful tools that are totally free and available from the library. So after this session, you may want to speak with them about borrowing elements that may make your production that much better. And if you're looking to save money, you can sometimes find a grad student or somebody who's a recent grad who's looking to get started in some aspect of video production to help you achieve the footage that you need to promote what it is that you want to promote. And then you can share your video once it's done on the social channels, and you can also publish it to your website, or you can email it embedded in an email to your stakeholders. And in any case, all of that is valuable and worthwhile in terms of promoting and marketing your business during the pandemic. One way to think about video when you go, sometimes people say, gosh, I don't like being on screen and I don't even know what to say. So one of the things that you can think about doing is framing on a piece, just take a piece of paper, because our brains work differently when we write on paper, and write down some of the questions that your customers frequently ask. It could be the simplest questions that you feel like, gosh, doesn't everybody know the answer to this? But in fact, people don't, or people just want to hear it from someone who's a trusted authority. And in under 2 minutes, frame the question and answer the question on a video. And you could do a series of short videos on essential business questions that relate to your product or service. And that would be a great place to begin. A second place you might begin is to have somebody interview you about a few aspects of your business that you'd want people to know about. And that's another way to help educate people and present yourself as an expert or a thought leader, and promote your business. So if you have questions about video, please feel free to stop me at any point. You can type a question in the chat and we can discuss it. Another area that became even bigger than it already was is Google search. And I saw Leslie has a program coming up on Google profiles, which is really important. And if you need help with this, let me know as well. Google search is not just powerful, it's a little bit, you can win at Google search even if you're small. And by that I mean, big corporations like Kraft Foods and Sony have giant budgets to compete in search and always show up as the #1 item when you're looking for something in an area that they sell into. But smaller businesses can compete very well too. And one of the interesting things this year in Google search is the competition for reviews. So let's say you own a floral shop and you have 5 Google reviews and they're all very nice, and that's great. And then you have a competitor floral shop that has 25 Google reviews. Some of them are not so great, but Google, being kind of a dumb machine that it is, its algorithm thinks, that other floral shop is busy. They've got more reviews. They must be doing more business. So in search for floral near me, the one with more reviews may turn up higher in the search results, which is very problematic for the person who's worked hard to get 5 great reviews than the person who's got 25 mixed reviews. So when you're looking at your Google profile, you want to make sure that the category your business is stated as being is correct. And I'll give an example. I work with many legal practices, and some legal practices will have a Google profile that just says lawyer. And other ones will have one that says family lawyer. And others will say collaborative law professional. And others will say divorce lawyer. And the more specific the term, the better, because when people are searching at home on their search engine, they're looking not just for a lawyer near me, they're looking for a divorce lawyer, they're looking for a family lawyer, they're looking for a professional that can help them do a postnuptial agreement, a prenuptial agreement, a change in the maintenance plan, whatever it is. And if those words are embedded in your Google profile, guess who's going to turn up higher in search? And the benefit of having for any kind of brick and mortar business or even an online entity, but you have to have a street address to really benefit from the reviews, is people read them and they say, yes, that business is for me. I'm going to call them. I'm going to text them, etc. Let's see. The next thing after Google search is content marketing. This has always been important for small business, now more than ever. Content marketing is storytelling, and storytelling is the origin story of your business, the about us story of your business. How did you get started? What makes things interesting? Why are you different from everyone else who's doing the same kind of business that you are? And the storytelling quality of content marketing is something that brings people closer, in particular in a time like this when people are reading more and looking more. And so if you can make sure that you have a great About Us page on your website, that's going to help. It should be well written. As an example, this is a big one, but it's true. If I ask you what you think Steve Jobs was like, you could probably answer and cite a few things about his life, and we all sort of feel like we met him, even though Most people didn't meet him, but Apple did a great job of creating a feeling like Steve Jobs was somebody that everybody knew. We know that he started in a garage. We know that he wasn't an easy personality. We know that he pushed his teams hard to innovate, and so on and so on and so on. And the origin story of Apple is so strong that a lot of people who aren't even that interested in it could probably recite it. And so we know that this is an effective way to bring people closer to a business and also create a feeling of connection and familiarity, which greatly supports your marketing effort. So think about storytelling for your business. Let's also talk for a minute, because we're talking a lot about digital things, about print. And when I say print, I mean everything from your business cards to your brochure to an annual report to your menu to your stationery or letterhead, newsletters, annual appeals, marketing, executive letters, and so on and so on. Print is not dead. And by that I mean when you go to get your mail from the mailbox, especially these days, there's all the stuff that looks like junk, right? There's all the stuff that we throw in the trash. And then every so often there's something very interesting and you set that aside. And typically the things that are very interesting are things that we either want to read, that look great, that have a message that's a little different from everything else, or that look important and personal. So you may want to consider a mail campaign to promote your business. If you work in local zip codes of any kind, you can use US Postal Service has something called Every Door, which is zoned by zip code, flat, oversized mailings. Realtors use this masterfully to promote your business for literally hundreds of dollars against the typical cost of thousands and thousands of dollars. I should note also that Leslie and Jody have access to government mailing lists and the change of address lists, and small business owners can work with Leslie and Jody to make mailing lists that you could use for your practice. And this is a wonderful benefit from the library that you could probably draw upon at this time and make something that might appear in people's mailboxes or something that you may give to people as part of your business sales cycle that people would be grateful to receive. Related to print is the notion of phenomenal communication design. So what that means is you should hire a good communication designer to make whatever it is you're printing. It could be your business cards, your letterhead, or all the types of marketing collateral you can think of, because a good designer, they don't necessarily charge you a lot of money, but they have the skill and the expertise to think about typefaces, readability, the priorities of information, so that whatever you're producing feels balanced and appealing. And if you do it right, when you give it to somebody, it feels like a gift. And so leaning on phenomenal communication design is really valuable, especially if you're thinking about printing. It does also matter for websites and social media, but it's a little bit different. So that's a different kind of design that we're talking about there. Number 8, carve out an authentic voice. What does that mean? Well, every social channel, every business, every brand has a personality. And if we're successful in our work, the personality of that brand will shine through. We can think of some examples. McDonald's, always friendly, affordable, available, clean, approachable, right? These are all kind of words that we might use to describe the brand. Audi, luxury cars, great engineering, aspirational, something if we work hard, we can buy one, save our money, we'll get one, and it's a wonderful driving machine. Or BMW, I think, is the ultimate driving machine. The authentic voice is something even the smallest business can create on their social channels, in the email marketing that you might do, any kind of print materials that you create. Is your business cheeky? Is your business serious? Is your business professorial and educational in its tone? What does your business sound like? This is the authentic voice of not just you, but anyone that you're associated with whom you work, that your customers may get to know as in the course of the work they do with you. So creating that is important, and holding that steady is important. For the purpose of an example, if you ever go on Facebook, you may see a business publishing interesting content that you're enjoying, and they may have a comment that says something to the effect of, "I don't understand how this is possible," and then they'll share an article with you. By virtue of saying, "I don't understand how this is possible," you suddenly trip up your reader to wonder, who is the I in this large business that's publishing something? So the tone is wrong, or the tone may feel flat and cold, or the tone just may not strike the consumer as being like the business they know well or don't know well, and maybe will pass by for a different business. So think about the voice of your business and what it sounds like, and then attempt to make adjustments to it, to make it as authentic, as real, as approachable as possible. And one way you can do that is with email marketing. And we like to joke that email is the cockroach of the internet. And what we mean is that email is not going away. And if you open your email in the morning and have a look with your coffee and your brioche in the morning, you may find you have 25 email messages, and half of them may be things that you delete, but the other half may be ones that you read. It's important to pay attention to, what do you like to receive? What do you find readable? And use that to inform your email marketing for your business. Email from the inside can feel like a digital pest, right? I have a client that has 2,000 people on their mailing list, and they email to them regularly. But those 2,000 people are actually extremely interested in what this business does. So when they send an email, they have something like a 50% read rate, an open rate, which is huge. That means half the people are reading what they're sending, and possibly more over time. But the benefit to the email is it really is sort of inoffensive. So if you open your email in the morning and find you have 25 versus 30 messages, do you really care? No, you don't. You read them as you can. You keep the ones that you find value in, and you pitch the ones that you don't, but it's a lot different than mail. And so I think it's important for businesses to continue to consider email as a valuable marketing tool that's extremely affordable, nimble, and you can shape it over time to reflect your authentic voice, which may be shifting over time too. You may be practicing how you talk about your business, and email is a great way to kind of continue that effort. Ask your customers to become your evangelist. This is interesting. In Glenview is a store called Apt. We've talked about this in the past. Apt sells washing machines, they sell watches, they sell iPhones, they sell exercise equipment, you name it. They sell stuff for your house that makes your house an easier place to live in. And now they sell furniture and beds and candy and all kinds of small appliances. But most people, if they've ever been to Apt, if you ask them, "Hey, have you ever been to Apt?" Most people would say, "Oh, I love going there because when I stop in, I can get a cup of coffee, a piece of candy or a cookie, or I can learn about products that I didn't even know existed." And everyone seems to have something nice to say. It's rare that you hear somebody say something nasty. Conversely, if you ever ask somebody, "What's it like to go to the Comcast office or the Xfinity store?" And people may swear. In the city, they work behind bulletproof glass, which is a big indication that probably things aren't going well in terms of creating customer evangelists. That's an extreme example. But what's really interesting is if your customers love what you do, they become your evangelists, and they sing your praises to the heavens. And this is so valuable because that word of mouth is something that you can't pay money for. You could advertise on every page of the local newspaper and still not get the benefit of people just being enthused about the good or service that you're offering. And it doesn't matter if you're a florist, a plumber, or a doctor. People love to like who they've chosen as a service provider or as a product provider. And we see it again and again. So anything that you can do to help your customers celebrate your organization is worth doing. And you can do that by inviting people to offer reviews on your social channels. You can reprint reviews from one social channel to another to let people know what's going on. Or you can ask them to comment about a product or a service or a good that you're manufacturing and ask them to celebrate it. And that's a great way to build your business in marketing. And related to that is word of mouth. Word of mouth is really how people will tell each other, oh, I just had the best donut. And the donut that I got was from XYZ place at such and such shopping center. And suddenly somebody says, I think I just heard about them. I'll have to go try that at some point. And then one morning somebody goes over there and tries it. And then they say, wow, this really is a great donut. And they tell their friends and so on and so on. I think there was a commercial like that a long time ago about the so on and so on. But word of mouth is the best. It's when people talk about a pizzeria having the best pizza or someplace having the best ice cream or salad or whatever it is, suddenly people are clamoring for that taste, that experience, that product. And we see it again and again, that word of mouth is great support to the evangelizing that we're seeking for our business. And you can amplify word of mouth by publishing on your social channels, whether it's LinkedIn or Facebook. Amplify what people say and have them amplify what you say. Have them tag you into their comments. You just win when there's buzz. One way to also win that's less interesting from the standpoint of it's harder to see when it's working well, but when it's working well, we know it, is SEO, which is search engine optimization. You must make sure that whatever website you develop has the right keywords, the right meta tags, the right page addresses, and the right backlinks, and so on, to really connect and perform on the internet. I have some friends who were fixing their fireplace, their chimney this summer, and it filled up their backyard with equipment from the workers, and they felt a little frustrated for a while because the chimney project was going on and they couldn't sit in their backyard. And after the project was done, I said to my friends, how was the project? Did it get done to your satisfaction? And they said, it certainly did, and it seems like everything went smoothly. But when we look up at our house, we see the chimney still there, and we can't really tell what's different, but we know that what they did was important for the health of the chimney. And I think SEO is a little bit like that. SEO is work that you have to do to promote your business, but when it's done, you can't really see it. It's not like a beautiful logo, and it's not like a gorgeous website, and it's not like a gift you can send to thank sources of referral to you. SEO, when it's done well, is working behind the scenes on the other side of your website, on the other side of your social channels, and you can't see it. But it's there. And when it's working, it really is powerful. And when it's not working, it's very problematic. So I think it's an important part of your business to invest in, and it might be the part of marketing that feels the least interesting to people because you can't really sense it once it's done. However, it's really important. So if you have questions about that, you can always send me an email after this session. I'd be glad to chat with you about it and help you get to resources that can support your SEO project work. Lastly, promote your thought leadership. Everybody knows a lot about something for sure. Everybody's an expert in something, which is why you have the business that you have. But you got to make sure that people know it. And that may take the form of writing blog content and publishing it. It may take the form of serving yourself up to local media and telling them that you'd like to comment as an expert when they have a story on something that you're skilled with. It may be that you should write an article and publish it on LinkedIn about something that you know a lot about. Is a great way of sharing with people what you know. And thought leadership is something that you alone have and possess, and it's a gift you have to give to your stakeholders and your customers. And it's something that you should absolutely work on as you go. And if you need help, ask a close friend or someone that you work with to reflect back to you, what are the parts of the business that you know inside and out that you could teach people about? And when you promote your thought leadership, you're giving people a chance to connect with you as an expert. And that's a really good place to market your practice or your business. These 13 areas are things that I think this year, if we work on nothing else, this will keep you very busy through the end of the year and into the new year. Be happy to chat with you about any specific questions that you might have. I also included something that I've included in previous presentations, which is a list of content areas that you might consider for your social channels, for blog writing, for websites, or email marketing. And these are literally general prompts that might help you think about your business in a way that you can then use it for marketing purposes. You know, share something funny as long as it's not idiotic. Share your business story. That's your about story. Share another page's content if it relates to your enterprise. Comment on it. In particular, with peer professional organizations, the sharing is really valuable and something that you should consider doing. This list is just, it's not a perfect list, but it will keep you busy and help you focus on different content areas as you go forward with your marketing effort for your business. And lastly, I included a 4-quarter worksheet, which you could do this now or you can do it later. Think about the year in terms of the quarters that it presents, and think about what feels okay for you to test and try for your business in terms of marketing, strategic communications, and brand building. And this can be a place for you to kind of plot out what's achievable for your business and kind of have it as a promise to yourself that every 3 months you'll achieve this goal or that goal, and then loop back to it and see how it was and evaluate how it went for you. I think that's a great way when you're kind of ramping up your marketing to think about the year, because it's hard sometimes in a full year to imagine how am I going to do everything and keep my business running. But carving it out into quarters may make things a little bit easier for you. I think this is everything that I have to talk about today. If there's questions, it would be great to hear some of them.
I don't see any questions yet, but please put them in the chat or the Q&A. No one's name will be shared. No one will see this on the screen for a recording, so feel free to share.
And if people want to talk about what their particular business area is or any challenges that you're facing this year, we could talk about that too. I think this is a good time to do that.
In the meantime, we're waiting. Rebecca, can you talk a little bit more about what would be some good tactics for that? Because you gave us the chart at the bottom, but would be using one of the 13 from the top be good, or what would be some good quarter goals?
Yeah, so I think what I always say in terms of prioritizing one's marketing effort is think about, it's like your 3 a.m. thought. What keeps you up at night? One business owner may say, I really need to start email marketing because my competitors are doing that and I see how it's helping them. Another business owner may say, I really don't have the right presence on social channels, so I should work on that. So I think in terms of prioritizing, you have to kind of think about the business that you're operating and how it's going. Like, is your business full or are you struggling right now? If your business is full, this is the right time to steward everybody and continue to celebrate all the customers and all the good work that you're doing. If your business is not full and you need more business, then we have to go into promotion mode. And that feels a little bit different. So in terms of the quarters, Leslie, what I would suggest is that people think about the quarters. So like here we are in November. People are going to get a bit done between now and the end of the year, but we should really probably plot out, let's say January to March. What are we going to do? You know, what are we going to do right now to prepare for that? Are we buying ads in a newspaper? Does that feel like what we need to do? Or are we working on a mailing campaign to a specific zip code because that group of houses will totally buy our good or service? So I think the prioritization is very particular to a business and specific to the needs of that business. And it's okay to modify it as you go.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much. I think that clarifies a lot.
Sure. Are there other things that you think we should talk about in the time that we have that would be important for the business owners in your community?
I think everyone is different. That's the hard part, right? When we're business owners, all of you are so unique and different.
And some businesses, we were talking about this earlier, some are struggling and some are doing just fine. And in any case, we've got to support all of them because that's what makes a community.
I did put a link in the chat to our library of things, which is where you will find some of the equipment that Rebecca talked about, the recording equipment, the cameras and that. So if you want to take a look,
that's great.
You'll find those materials.
Yeah.
And you can check those out with the personal card. If you are a resident of Addison, you can also have a business card if you only own a business in Addison.
Having access to those materials is just enormous. Frequently people will say to me, I know I need to make the videos, but I don't really know how to start. And in better times, a lot of libraries even have a studio that can be used for the purpose of creating the video. I don't know if that's available right now.
Yeah, we still have the sound studio available. You can use the Mac and the software in there, and our digital services coordinator is here to help you. Just some of the more hands-on equipment, this recording equipment may not be available just because of the high touch capacity. But if you reach out to me, I can always get you connected with him and he can answer all those specific questions for you.
And that's, I mean, aside from cost savings, that's just a great resource to have when you're learning how to do something. And I think a lot of small business owners, so much is self-service these days that can be a little overwhelming. And so having access in the library to somebody who has expertise to help, I think is just huge and really valuable. So that's just great. And it's good to know you can come inside and use the studio.
Absolutely. I never promise to know the answers to all of your questions, but hopefully can find you someone who does. That's always my caveat before any appointment we do here. So,
well, business librarians are the most resourceful people. So
thank you.
And you know the community well. If people have questions, though, don't be bashful to ask, because I think that this is a good forum for discussion.
I have a question, Rebecca, about somebody who's uncomfortable with social media. Doesn't embrace it on a personal level and certainly can't make the mind shift to get it into a business level either. Would you recommend somebody hired to conduct social media?
Could be. Certainly that exists in the world and can be purchased for sure. I think yes. However, I would say I do meet people regularly who will say to me, I don't like Facebook. I don't use Facebook. So therefore, I won't have it for my business. And generally speaking, I think that's a problematic point of view because it's not about you. And you as the business owner, your personal feeling about Facebook or LinkedIn is very different from how the public is searching, and the public cannot call on the phone and say, can we meet and talk? So it's probably important to kind of work through the bad feelings someone has about social media. And you can hire somebody like me to kind of go through the strategy, which is usually all that someone needs to realize, so my customers won't see my vacation photos then, or, oh, okay, so the pictures of my dog, those are on my private page, but the information about my business, that's on my business page. And that is not different than airing commercials or buying advertising on in a newspaper. So I think you could hire somebody. The one challenge with hiring somebody is if you don't have a good strategy in place, what they produce for you could miss the mark. It could be dilute. It could feel very artificial and saccharine, and it can cost a lot of money when it's really a very self-service type activity. It's a little bit like some of the things you have to do in your life, like changing the batteries in something or the filter in your air system. You can hire somebody and they'll gladly come for $150 and put the filter in that you could learn to do yourself. And it's good to know because some things are hard, but I don't think social media is terribly difficult. You just have to be willing to try it a little bit and take baby steps. I don't think people need to be publishing all day long every day. You could commit to publishing one good piece of content per week and boosting that for a few dollars, which is advertising, and see how that goes. And if you like it, do more. And if you like it less, then do less. But showing up, it's sort of like having a telephone or having a website. Like you kind of have to have it now.
Yeah, absolutely you do. I can't imagine not finding a business on Facebook.
There are some.
I know, and I'm like, I can't find them. I can't find them anywhere. But from a personal viewpoint, the Google reviews have been indispensable for business, as well as the feedback on social media, just in general. Like that is like engaging people and being responsive, I think, are the two biggest things.
Yes. And in fact, we should note something with respect to Google reviews. We'll just use them as an example, but it could be anything. It could be Yelp reviews, it could be Facebook reviews, it doesn't matter, or professional platform reviews. Let's say you're a business and you have only 2 reviews. Very nice. And then let's say you get 1 bad review. Now you have 2 good reviews and 1 bad review. And the bad review may be somebody crabby, somebody crazy, somebody who's hired by your competition to do something awful. And when people speak badly in reviews, they speak badly and they don't even realize how bad they are. It happens to my clients all the time. But if we have an active campaign to generate reviews, where we ask every customer, please review our service. So now we have 25 reviews and all of them are pretty darn good and very reflective of the business. And then we get the 1 crab. Guess what? So what? And how you deal with it is openly and say, please call us. We will talk to you about your concerns, but we won't do this over this public forum. So give us a call or email us here and we'll help. But if you don't have that nice cushion of good reviews that really speak about your business, you've got a big, big problem and you're going to lose in the competition. So Google reviews is just one example, but there are so many kinds of reviews and citizen journalism is so big now that it's not going away and you've got to head it off at the pass. I work with one of my vendors is a wonderful service. It's not much money per month. They have an online review platform and you send them the contacts you want them to email and you have a profile page on the platform and they will email your contacts up to 7 polite times over the course of as many weeks, inviting them to make a review. And even if everyone doesn't write a review, some people do. And that's really helpful because a small business owner is not going to write a personal note to a customer or a client 7 times to say, oh, you said you would write the review, would you please? Oh, would you please? Would you please? Because then it gets too personal and it's a problem. But if it's mechanized through a platform, it's comfortable for your customer. So I can't say enough about this because up until March, reviews mattered a bit, but other things mattered too. And after March, reviews mattered absolutely 120% differently than they did in February. And that's definitely, we were talking about what's here to stay. Reviews are here to stay. And you're right, we use them to understand, is this the right paint shop for me? Is this the right dental practice? I recently interviewed a couple different orthodontists and one of them was terribly rude. And I was quite surprised. And when I looked at her online reviews, I went, oh, she's terribly rude. And the other ones that we met with were delightful. So I think that the reviews will let you know a lot about a business. And a good business owner is going to get out ahead of that and generate as many as they can.
Do you have any other suggestions for how to generate those reviews? I know you suggested the 1 platform. Is there any other tips or tricks we can
well, one way everybody was doing it is they would literally, during the process of selling or after selling, whatever they're doing, they'd write a note to the customer and say, your review would mean so much to us and provide the links.
Okay.
That's pretty good. And people will say, oh, absolutely, I want to totally review you, and then they forget. So then are you going to write to them again? Are you going to write to them again and again? It's a problem. Using a service in this instance is good because it's automated and consumers understand it's automated. So when their name is submitted, because you used a certain roofing company or a paint company or you bought a wonderful lunch somewhere, you don't mind receiving those. We were talking about how sometimes email can feel intrusive. These review emails, not a big deal. I don't really know of another way to generate them except by just making sure that either your website points people to a place where they can make the reviews, your email communication after engagement reminds people a review would mean a lot and is a gift in and of itself. The review platform services are nice because they'll filter, like the one that I use sends all 1 to 3 star reviews to the business owner first as feedback so that they don't just publish automatically when somebody's angry or upset or possibly just off the wall. And they publish the 4 and 5 star reviews, which are legitimate from the heart points of view. So I think it's different for every business, but I think asking a small business owner to hunt down all the reviews, it's not going to happen. It's really hard to do. So you almost need this tool. And it doesn't cost much money, and it's valuable.
I feel like someone's going to ask this question, so I'll ask it first. On average, how much would something like that cost?
Sure. So the business that I work with the most, for a couple $100, probably under $400, they'll assess your Google profile and they'll look at your website for opportunities to compete in keywords. So they'll scan your website and understand how it's competing against your top competitors. They'll even tell you who your top competitors in search are. And they'll tell you what keywords are really performing and where you're missing the mark. So that's the first part. The second part is a monthly service that you pay for. I believe it's $169 a month to have a profile on the platform, which looks like your business, and you complete it with all the information that you want people to have and include photographs of your headshots, your teams, your products, whatever it is. And then the platform is automated when you send them the contacts as you close business. So like, let's say you're a restaurant and you have 100 customers a day, you could send all the emails that you receive to this platform, and all 100 of those people will be invited to make a review about their dining experience. So for $169 a month, it's totally scalable. And it's a no contract situation. So you could do it for 6 months and generate reviews and then stop, or you could just keep it going as a business expense that's good for business. But it's not much money when you consider what you're getting for it. Those testimonials, you can take them and republish them on your print collateral, on your websites. You can use them as part of your video work or as memes on social media. I mean, these things are really powerful. So I think from a cost standpoint, compared to like what people are paying for a lot of other things, it's not much money to pay at all. But it wasn't something that we needed a year ago. I mean, it might have been nice, but now it's essential.
Right.
That's the difference.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. So I haven't seen any other questions coming, but I do know this whole virtual thing is hard for everyone. So we appreciate everyone joining us and listening. And Rebecca, thank you so much for your knowledge again. We love having you, and I'm sure you'll be back. Hopefully,
thank you for having me.
At least be hybrid, if not.
Yeah, I mean, at some point we're all going to be together in person again, and that's going to feel really good. And while we can't, this isn't bad. This is not a bad facsimile of the hard work that you do every day at the library.
Well, thank you again. We truly appreciate your expertise. And I'm going to tomorrow send everyone this handout Rebecca has shared, as well as her contact information and the link to this recording. So if you want to catch something again, please just let us know. We always appreciate your feedback for your review, and we can send that on to Rebecca as well.
Yeah, I think that's so helpful. And really, for everyone who's been on this session, if you have questions going forward, just send me a note and I'll reply to you as quickly as I can. If you have very particular questions about your business or anything that you're just not sure about, be in touch. I'm glad to be a resource to the community.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. We hope you have a wonderful day and stay safe, and everyone as well.
Thank you. To you as well. Thank you for having me.